Welcome back to the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we're going to be talking about the Kalos region, which obviously, if you see the name of my channel, you can imagine means a lot to me. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the things that were kind of left unfinished with the Kalos region, and that I really hope we get some answers to, whether that's in an X2Y2 game, a remake of X and Y, a Z game, a Legends Kalos. I don't know. I just want answers. So first we'll start with the biggest thing, and that is what happened with the whole Ultimate Weapon thing. And what I mean specifically is, a long time ago, the King of Kalos, AZ, fired the Ultimate Weapon during a war, and it did a lot of damage. But we actually don't know where the weapon hit. We don't know who was the victim of the Ultimate Weapon. Now, I've previously proposed a theory that Paldea could have been the victim of this weapon. Specifically, Area 0 could have been created by the Ultimate Weapon. But if that's not your cup of tea, well, Kalos Capsule, my good friend, has actually proposed a theory stating quite the opposite. So there's two things on that. But at the end of the day, these are both just theories. Like, you know, we could both be wrong. One of us could be right and the other be wrong. I don't know. And that's exactly what I'm wanting here. I want the Pokemon Company to eventually one day address it. And the nice thing about this question is that they don't have to give us a Kalos game to address this question, right? They could easily, in Gen 10, wherever that's set, they could have some dialogue about, yeah, a long time ago, we actually were the victims of the Ultimate Weapon from the Kalos region. And then, boom, there you go. Now we know what region was impacted by this weapon. So again, it's not even needed to be a Kalos game. I want this question answered, y'all. Now we have a question about the Sundial. So the Sundial was this giant thing, this giant attraction in Anastar City, and it was actually used in the post-game to be able to find Megastones. You would basically go to the Sundial and start a little timer. You can find Megastones during that time. But the connection between Sundials and Megastones is only very loosely explained. Like, there's still a lot more here that we kind of need explained. And on that note, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of questions still behind the Mega Evolution phenomenon we need explained. You know, we kind of got the origin of Z moves and Z crystals and of Dynamax, and I think that we're about to get the Terrastal explanation and the Indigo Disc, but Mega Evolution is still left largely unexplained. I mean, there is some explanation, but just not as much as Z crystals, Dynamax, and what I imagine Terrastal will get. And on the note of the Anastar Sundial, there's actually a lot of things in the Kalos region that are kind of, you know, it's not these huge questions, but it's clearly they were teasing something more, and we never got it. Like, first off, you have the Kalos Power Plant, which is out in the Lumios Badlands. When you go there, you will find the Kalos Power Plant. You can enter one building of it, and you even have to bow Team Flare there. But then there's other buildings, and it just kind of tells you, oh, the door is locked. And you never really get an explanation for, you know, why they even put this here. Like, why even make the dialogue, the door is locked? It would have been nicer if I just clicked A and nothing happened, like no text popped up. But no, they made a point to say, oh, this door is locked, which implies it can be unlocked, but they never did it. Now, this is one of those things that I imagine was supposed to come up in the scrapped X2Y2 game. We know from, like, the data in Sun and Moon, it's got lists of, like, the Pokemon games, and it does have coding for something called X2 and Y2. Very likely we were supposed to get these games, but they were scrapped so that GameFreak could work on the Pokemon Sun and Moon, which of course was the big 20th anniversary celebration game. So they prioritized that over X2 and Y2, and now us Kalos fans are suffering heavily from it. I imagine that maybe these Kalos power plant buildings could have been tied to Volcanion, because there is like some stuff tying Volcanion to the Lumios Badlands. But at the end of the day, this is all just theory, again, because the Pokemon Company hasn't given us answers. Another area that there felt like there needed to be more with, but we never really got it, was the Lost Hotel. The Lost Hotel isn't even a required location. It's a part of a route that you have to go through, but you don't have to go to the Lost Hotel. So, you know, it's not even a big part of the game. It's just this part that kind of is unexplained. The anime gave it its own episode and like used time travel in it, and that was honestly a very cool episode, but we don't get anything like that in the games. In the games, just kind of, it's there, you can see it, and I just want some more story behind it. I want to know what happened, I want to know why it happened, I want to know, you know, honestly, I want to see a conclusion to it, because I feel like there's more you can do with it, not just learning about it, but also going forward with it, right? Then another location that is like this is over on the route between Lumio City and the town that I'm completely blanking on the name of, but the fairy town. There is this house, it's called the Strange House. You have to visit there with your friends that you're traveling with, you know, Shauna, Tierna, Trevor, and Serena or Callum, depending on which gender you played as. And at this house, the guy will tell you a scary story about a horde of faceless men, and then that's it. But it's so weird because this is marked as a special location on the map, but it's not. It just has the small thing. You don't get an item or anything. You don't learn about anything. There's been a lot of speculation that the horde of faceless men he could be referring to is Zygarde, because Zygarde has those spines on the back, and they've got these little green dots on them that could be mistaken for eyes. So, you know, in the dark, maybe they could look like a horde of faceless men. But I don't know. To me, that's still a stretch. I feel like that's us trying to explain something because we don't have an explanation for it. And I wonder if there was something more to here, and this whole route in general, but especially this house. This is another one that the anime expanded on and gave it more and implied the guy's a ghost, but nothing like that for the games. And we have this same exact thing of just needing more context with the Pokemon Village, and specifically Mewtwo being there. Mewtwo, a Pokemon created by humans, is there. Is this a different Mewtwo that was created? Is this Mewtwo also created by Team Rocket? Or did someone else see Team Rocket's plans and be able to create their own Mewtwo? Like, did Team Flare create this? Why did it decide to sell down here in the Pokemon Village? You know, lots of questions surrounding that. Probably the most mentioned mystery from Kalos on this channel is the Lumiose Ghost Girl. You can go to Lumio City and you can go upstairs in one of the buildings, and this girl will float out of the elevator, and seriously, they don't give her a walking animation. She floats, and she kind of walks around you, or floats around you, and then says, "No, you're not the one." And then she keeps going, and you can follow her, but there'll be no one there. Then there's also like a, you know, same model is at the hotel in Lumio City, and when you talk to her, she's like, "Shh, I can't hear the elevator coming. I need to hear for the elevator coming." And that's kind of all the, you know, insight you get on her, and we don't even know that she's connected to the Lumiose Ghost Girl. It's just kind of theorized she is, because she's sketchy too, has the same model. And then over in the Lumio Station, you can see on the back of a board, someone's like written a message, and it's like, "I'm going to get help, let's meet at the usual place," or something to that effect. And again, we don't even know that this is tied to the Lumiose Ghost Girl. This is just speculation, because all of these things are weird. They're all in Lumio City, so we're assuming they're all connected. This Ghost Girl then also did actually appear in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which were the games that came directly after X and Y. She can be found at Mount Pyre and will, you know, say the same thing. "No, you're not the one." Again, no other context. I feel like the fact that they put her in 2 games means that it was all going to culminate with something, some kind of plot in the X2, Y2 games that, again, were scrapped. But we'll never know, because those games were scrapped, and I'm upset about it. Now, one thing that I've really wondered about for a long time now is what the deal is with AZ's Floette. You know, AZ's Floette looks different, and actually there is coding for it in the game. Like, you could get this Pokemon, and they never released the event, so you can't officially, but like you could, if you wanted to hack your game, get access to this Pokemon. And it has its own special move. It's like high stats, like it has a higher base stat total than normal Floette. And it even, of course, looks different, right? It's not a normal form of Floette you can find. It also can't evolve. So there's been a lot of theories on this. A lot of people were, in the early days of Scarlet and Violet, suggesting that maybe AZ's Floette was actually a paradox. But, you know, ultimately that was never confirmed. It is called the Eternal Flower Floette, and people did point out that Eternal Flower does sound like a paradox name, right? Like Walking Wake, Great Tusk, Eternal Flower. that makes sense, but Eternal Flower is not its official name. It's just a form name because Eternal Flower is actually too long for the character limit of Pokemon names. So that's not it. It's just coincidence that there are these connections with it. But I want to know what the deal is, because Floette wasn't made like this from its resurrection. It was shown to be like this before the ultimate weapon was fired. So I'm just wondering, was this a common form of Floette back then? Did AZ get his Floette from somewhere else? Why is this Floette this way, and why are there not other Floettes like this? Maybe it's an extinction thing. Maybe they've all died out except for this one, who was resurrected by AZ. Or maybe this one is genuinely special and always was special. But if so, why? Before I get to my last one, I will do the honorable mention of the Coralway Station. There's always been the question of, where does the Coralway Station lead to? You know, a lot of people were like, oh, maybe it's South Kalos, and we'll get South Kalos someday. Never got that. A lot of people, when Galar was coming out, were like, ooh, it'll travel to Kalos, or Galar, and it didn't. And then, even when Alola came out before Galar, people were like, maybe it'll travel to Alola. It didn't, which I don't know why people thought that, because Alola's Hawaii. So if we're looking geographically, it's like on the other side of the globe, and in the middle of the ocean. It doesn't matter. The point is that we don't know where the Coralway Station leads to. Now, personally, I don't think that this is a huge mystery. Places have trains, and yeah, they lead to other countries. So yeah, this station might lead to another country. But it doesn't matter where. Honestly, it doesn't. So I'm not too concerned about this one, but I did want to mention it because it is a big question that the community has, even if it's not one that I'm pressed about. Now, to move into this last one, we have one that I don't see brought up a lot, and that is the Victory Road of the Kalos region. The Victory Road of the Kalos region has you weaving around these ruins, and I just want to know what these ruins were of. I wonder if maybe they were the ruins of AZ's old castle, you know, that was destroyed by war, and eventually the Pokemon League was built on top of it, which is also very castle-like, so maybe it even took inspiration from what the original design of that castle was. And you kind of go through the ruins to get there. But, you know, again, nothing confirmed. That's just a theory. I would love to know what these ruins were and what the story behind it is. And also, missed opportunity. They should have put little things in there that could have helped you piece together the puzzle of what these things are, and perhaps even the story of AZ, or AZ and Floette even, in a similar way to how the Pokemon Mansion and Pokemon Red and Blue and Green and Yellow and Fire Red and Leaf Green, you can click on the journals and kind of learn the story of Mew. Would have been cool if they had done a similar thing with this. They didn't, so now I'm just left wondering what's going on. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you think of these questions. What are your questions from the Kalos region? And do you have any answers of your own to these questions? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss all of our future videos. And until next time, I will see all of you later.